Games in this podcast range from E to M. Hello and welcome to the official Xbox podcast, the only podcast coming to you from literally inside Xbox. And we are indeed back inside Xbox as we return to the studio where it's great to see my fellow co-hosts Malik and Tina and hi Phil.
Not a co-host.
Phil's here.
It feels like we're inside of an Xbox.
We are.
I thought that's
about that, yeah.
How cool would that be?
This is what it is.
In a console,
We'll work on the
right?
set.
Yeah, you can pull the sets.
You notice how he sits up a little bit when he starts? I love that.
He's excited.
Yeah,
you know?
We got a special guest here.
Well, I'll slouch the rest of the day on my laptop. So, and you may notice we're posting a little bit earlier this week. You may also notice that the CEO of gaming at Microsoft, Phil Spencer, is sitting right here next to us because this is no ordinary week. So whether you're watching us on youtube.com/Xbox, listening to us on Apple or Google Podcasts, or you can actually do both on Spotify, thank you for joining the official Xbox podcast at what is a very special time for gamers, and to be honest, for us as well. In case you missed it, late last week, Activision Blizzard and all of their teams formally joined Team Xbox. It is a huge deal. What is it going to mean for all of you players out there? That's why we've got Phil here. We're going straight to the source. I'm pleased to welcome you here to the show, but also as Team Xbox, we are really pleased to welcome all the folks from Activision, Blizzard, and King to Team Xbox.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a long journey. I loved in our announced video, there was the line it's been about time. It has been a long journey, but to those teams, because I mean, they've had to sit kind of in an uncertain state, watching a lot of the news, like a lot of our own teams. It's just awesome to have the creative capability and energy of Activision Blizzard King part of our Xbox team, what we're trying to go do. The reason I'm flying to Stockholm today to go see the King teams. I'm excited about that. Next week, I'll be down in Southern California to see the Activision teams and the Blizzard teams. I want to go in, I want to listen, I want to learn, I want to hear what they're passionate about, their feedback, their energy. It's a big moment. It's a big moment for us, a lot of opportunity, and I'm incredibly excited by it all. So welcome to the team. Congrats on the kind of refresh on the podcast. It's awesome to see.
Thank you.
I don't think refresh is probably the official word you use, but I love the relaunch. I think the energy you're bringing to the show. This is episode 5.
Yeah.
I came in thinking it was 4, but you corrected me.
You were close.
I was close, but it's awesome. You guys have done a great job.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Very kind.
Well,
very
extra
kind.
special now that we've got you here. So thank you for the vote of confidence in multiple ways.
And this is what we want. We want this fourth chair here to be taken up by folks who work here, other devs that come into town.
Now, this chair has a name by you. What do you call this?
This is the
We're not
first time
talking
actually
about that in public.
The cheese couch.
The
So
cheese couch?
You're breaking
He
in
hates the couch. I love the couch.
I feel like
I
it's more
think it's
mustard.
comfortable.
I think it's
more mustard,
comfortable.
you know?
Mustard,
Yeah.
and I like mustard.
I like mustard, but that is, you put that on a cheesesteak. You just like wipe it on the
Cheese is
on the
good.
cushion
Mustard's
right there.
good. I don't know what the problem
I don't have a
is.
problem with it. I just don't want to sit on it.
This
right?
is Team
Well,
Cheese
that's why
over
we
here.
changed
Okay, all right. Well, I'll tell you what, from now on, you sit here.
Perfect.
And I'm here
Done
in my
deal.
neutral
I will
grid.
give the couch love.
So, noticing the hoodie here, were you at the Halo World Championships this
Yeah,
weekend?
I went last night. I was in Seattle, so I went over. I didn't get to stay till the end, but congrats to FaZe. FaZe beat Optic. We almost had a repeat champion, but we didn't. It was a reset. So then, if people don't know, you kind of come up from the losers bracket. If you win, then there's another match between the final two teams. So it went, and that's the reset. Went again, and it was awesome. It was sold out. Seeing the community there, I try to go every year when they do it in Seattle at the Washington Convention Center. But the fans were there, all the vendors, and there were some great charitable causes in the back. It was a fun event.
There's a lot more than just the esports stuff too. We had Brian Gerard on last week who told us all about season 5, and I know they
Firefight.
revealed more. Yeah, Firefight King
Come
of the
on.
Hill.
Yes, but like I want the date. They keep giving me it's like soon, and I'm going over to Pierre. It's like, what is soon? I want to play Firefight sooner, like now, but it's not now.
That feels like a command.
No, you know me. I don't have any commands.
When it's ready.
But no, season 5 looked awesome. They had a bunch of stations in the back where people got to play the season 5 content during the HCS. So it was good. I'm always proud of Elizabeth and Pierre and the whole team that puts there's a ton of people who put all that on. And it's great. It's great to have it here. And our studio team gets to go. And there's always such an energy, I think, when the people who are working on the game get to go see an event. You know, I'm lucky enough to get to go to a ton of events and feel that energy. You've all been. But when a team who spent so many years working on a game does the work, gets to go and feel it in the arena, I think that's special. In Season 5, I think we've been through a journey with Infinite, but I think Season 5, it feels like the energy is as positive as it's been in a long time with Infinite. And that's awesome.
In the comments last week, when we had Brian on the show, everyone in the comments like, they're talking about Halo again. Like, people are in 100%. So it's so exciting to see that on top of World Championships. Just, bring everyone together and get everyone excited again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Forge AI, that's going to bring a ton more content to the game. And as someone who's not going to use it, but is going to consume what is made from it, I'm very excited to see what people
I was talking to the team about the Forge tools, and they were... The community always takes our creative tools, whether it's in Minecraft, which I think we'll talk about in a second, in Halo, even things like Flight Sim and the creator tools that are there, the mod tools in our Bethesda games. But I know the team with the Forge AI stuff, they think there's going to be completely new genres that are built on top of Halo inside of the Forge tools. I can't wait. I used to love going in and playing Duck Hunt. If you ever did that in the old Forge tools, people had actually built a Duck Hunt.
like actual, like the old school?
Yeah, you would play. There was a guy across with a snipe, and then you kind of had this like S that you had to go up. So you'd start off, I'm going to guess, like 15 of us as Spartans. You're like, okay, does he see us? And then you all run, and you get taken down, and the goal was to get to them. It was a lot of fun, but like it's just the stuff that the community does. Gaming is about the community, so when we put creative tools in their hands and see what they create, I just think it makes the games more than just ours. It becomes the community's games.
What was really awesome, and we'll move on, but I asked, hey, is there like a pathway from creating content in Forge to working here? And the person I was talking with, yeah, that's me actually. I started off making content in Forge.
That's right. And one of the maps that I saw, it's more than one, but one of the maps I specifically remembered last night was actually created by us, but in Forge. So you can, and that was in the championship. So when our own teams are using our community tools to create content, you're using the same things that the professionals are using. So then it's just creating content that people love. And then through some of our places, we've actually been able to create a marketplace where creators can actually build a business, creating that content and selling to the community, which is fantastic as well.
So Halo World Championships this weekend. Also this weekend, Minecraft Live. Tina, you were really close to that.
Yes, yeah. The Xbox broadcast team produced that show in partnership with Mojang. Another super creator-forward game. So it's been a really good weekend for Xbox overall. And it was a really cool spin on how we normally record that show. We actually did in full extended reality here at the Xbox studio where we're filming the podcast out of. Right downstairs, Studio One. It was really fun because we got to take the actual worlds of Minecraft and put the developers and our host Lydia and Vu into those worlds and kind of interact. We had a really cool minecart journey kind of going through with a bunch of goofs, and it just really came together in a fun way of telling the news on a yearly basis because it's our biggest beat of the year for Minecraft and for Xbox in a lot of ways, I might argue. But it was a really nice opportunity to talk about some fun updates to vanilla. I think people are really excited about auto crafting. And of course, we revealed the latest mob that will be created for Minecraft. And that's well, I don't know. Should I spoil it? I think everyone knows now.
Everyone knows
I mouthed
quick
it.
spoil. Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's the
We'll
armadillo.
Armadillo's one.
There it is.
Yeah, so it's always a fun new tradition for the team to be able to invite the community in to help decide what's going into the game in a lot of ways, including the mob.
Well, you can go back in time. You can watch that on, actually all of that is going to be archived on YouTube, both the World Championships and Minecraft Live. But the reason, as much as we'd love to continue talking about that with you, Phil, also the big deal has closed on Friday. And I'm seeing a lot of headlines, a lot of YouTubers saying things like, it's done. And we were talking earlier, this isn't the end. This is really the beginning with Xbox and Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, I think the regulatory process, let's just say it took so long that it almost felt like the game or the kind of goal itself was to get through the regulatory process. That's just the beginning. In fact, this evening I'm flying to Stockholm to see the King team. It's a team I don't know that well, so I'm really excited to go see them. I think we're in Stockholm and then London They have a couple other locations. I don't know that we're going to make to all the locations, but I'm really excited about seeing the teams. The following week, I'm going down to Southern California. I'll go to Blizzard. I'll go see Activision. And to me, when I think about where we're trying to go, it always starts with the teams, right? The teams have to feel motivated. They have to feel inspired. They have to feel safe. They have to feel heard. And because their passion, their commitment to the things that they build, the way they run their games, that comes from the culture of who they are. I've said it many times. I think teams ship their culture in everything they do, whether it's implicit or explicit. You can kind of feel the dynamic on a team and the creative output, whether it's a band, whether it's a writer, whatever. So spending time with the teams and getting to hear from them where they're going. I have some of my own opinions, of course, but they're just opinions. This is getting time with the teams, thinking about where we're trying to go, then looking at the games and where we are and where the roadmap. That's really where the work is, and I'm very, very excited about that.
Cool.
And as part of that journey, obviously there's the big burning question that everybody would like to know, and you mentioned it in your Xbox Wire
When's Hexen
post.
coming back? That's what people want to know.
I think that's what you want to know.
Might be one of my questions.
Yes, but that is part of it. But it's also, and you wrote in your Xbox Wire post last week as well, that the work has started on bringing Activision Blizzard King games to Game Pass and other platforms. And I think like speculation and wish lists have been running wild ever since last week. So I'm sure you've seen all of that. But what does that mean exactly, especially when we think about our last acquisition in 2021 with Bethesda? There was a fairly immediate drop of back catalog games. So I think people are looking to that and wondering, is that kind of how the format is going to go now? Or what does that actually look like?
And I think rightfully so, right? When we finished Bethesda, there was this great moment. We were able to put a bunch of the back catalog games in, celebrate their history. The truth of the matter is, with Activision Blizzard King, that the regulatory process took so long. And frankly, there was a lot of uncertainty in that process up until really a week before we closed, or the week of, when the CMA finally came down to their decision, that we weren't able to get in and work with mostly Activision and Blizzard in this case, on that back catalog work. So now that the deal is closed, we're starting that work, but there is work. And I think the Activision Twitter handle or X handle, whatever we're calling it, did put out a statement. I can't call it X, but Twitter handle did put out something that talked about 2024. I think that's accurate. There's no. I would love it if there was some kind of secret celebration drop that's coming in the next couple of weeks. There's not. It's definitely when we think about the new games that are there. I would be straight with people, right? If we were going to put them in the subscription this year, I would tell people, and I know there'll be some disappointment about that. This acquisition is definitely long-term. So the fact that we're not hitting day one with a bunch of games dropping in to Game Pass is a little bit of a downer, but I'm very excited about the future. And I just want to be straight with people that's where we are.
There you go, addressing the rumors. Now let's talk about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 coming out next month. Very excited. I played the beta over the weekend.
The open beta, what did you think?
It's very interesting getting humbled by your reaction time going down every single year.
Okay, young man.
It's very clear that
I count my reaction time in like tens of seconds now.
Well, people are getting really good at the game, but to that point, like people are really excited about it. And I think for players who may not be playing on Xbox, they want to know, what does this mean for them on their platform? Like, is Xbox going to see exclusive DLC, early release, things like that? So what can you tell players who are looking to play Call of Duty on other platforms?
And when we say other platforms, I think we're talking about PlayStation.
Yeah, I think
that other one.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think the PC players, their PC is unique, and I want it to feel like it's part of the overall gaming platform that Xbox focuses on. We've been on that journey for a while with our first party and our Xbox app on PC. There's a lot of work for us to continue to do there. For Call of Duty players on PlayStation and in the future on Nintendo, I want you to feel 100% part of the community. I don't want you to feel like there's content you're missing out, there's skins you're missing out, there's timing that you're missing out on. That's not the goal. The goal is 100% parity across all platforms as much as we can for launching content. I say as much as we can on parity because clearly some platforms have resolution and frame rate differences just based on perf. But there's nothing else. We have no goal of somehow trying to use Call of Duty to get you to buy an Xbox console. So it is, I want the Call of Duty Nation to feel supported across all platforms. We've been on the other side of some of those skins and times, even this beta, like it wasn't on Xbox the first week. Like I don't think that helps the community. I don't think that helps the game. And so it's the focus. If you're a PlayStation player, you're a Nintendo player, PC player, or an Xbox console player, I want you to feel like 100% part of the Call of Duty Nation.
Love that.
Yeah. So let's talk about, we were talking about the rumors of when, things might appear on Game Pass. The other sort of like set of rumors is, or
There's
speculation
never-ending
out there.
rumors.
There's only the two, right? Is like,
There are only two?
are you bringing back Guitar Hero or Tony Hawk, or would you have, Infinity Ward work on this Xbox IP or franchise or something like that? And that stuff's been, there was 20 months to think about those types of things.
Yeah.
But now that officially the team is joined as of Friday, so you have 9 studios, there's a wealth of IP from Activision. Like, how are you thinking about these new teams, these new franchises, or new to us franchises? Like, how do you even take all of that in?
Yeah, the first thing, as I kind of mentioned before, is to go spend time with the teams. Because I just don't think that a team working on something that isn't their passion leads to the best result. So I might have my list of things from my memories in history that I want to see made again. Everybody will, right? When I just think about, not just about Activision Blizzard King, you add in Bethesda, you add in Xbox's history, Rare, like the amount of franchises that we now have in our portfolio it's kind of inspiring. It's daunting. I feel that we have to be a great custodian for the content that we touch. These are memories from people on different platforms, different decades. And I want to make sure that when we're going back and visiting something, that we do it with our complete ability, a motivated team that wants to go work on something and make a difference, not just create something for financial gain or create something for a PR announcement and not deliver on the price. So I'm going to start with the teams and what are they passionate about. That's why I'm excited to go on these visits. And then we'll look at it. Like I think we've done an okay job as Xbox. I don't think we've done kind of an A+ job on looking at our franchises and revisiting them. It's always a trade-off between what do you do that's new and going back and doing something. I do think with Game Pass, we have the ability to maybe pick a couple franchises every year and almost do like a revisited. I just made up that term, so it's not a brand.
It's not on a box.
It's not on a box, but I like I tease about things like Hexen just because I remember playing it as a kid. I have no plan for that. But I do think when you look across all of the franchises and are part of our teams, there's an opportunity for us to go back, even if it's just to recognize the moment and what those things meant in gaming's history and do something right with it, make it available to people through Game Pass. I think there's an opportunity. There's not a plan for that, but there's an opportunity. If teams want to go back and revisit some of the things that we have and do kind of a full focus on it, I'm going to be all in on that because I think there's just an amazing trove of things that we can go and touch again. It doesn't have to just be about Activision and Blizzard. Like I said, when you look across all the portfolio, I think about things like the Quake 2 remaster. It just came out from it. I thought that was awesome, right? They did a real good job revisiting a game, making it current, but also not leaving the history behind. So I'd love to see more things like that.
So you mentioned the trove of content, the treasure trove, and you've mentioned Hexen.
Yeah.
I think so. It fits. But are there, Hexen's maybe a deep cut for some because it's a shooter from the 90s, and we obviously have a very wide-ranging community. Are there any other games or franchises, just for you personally, deep in the vault that we can now potentially explore that you're just personally excited for people to discover for the first time or maybe rediscover?
I hadn't really thought about that question. Specific on Activision and Blizzard, there's some moments in Activision's history. You mentioned Tony Hawk, you mentioned Guitar Hero, even things like Skylanders, or that were moments where the teams kind of innovated outside of expectation. What do you mean I'm going to carry a plastic guitar and plug it into my console and play? Like, that's never going to work until it worked. And then everybody said, well, of course that was going to work. Skylanders kind of the same way. For me personally, though, when I think about the franchises, I kind of go back to things like some of the old Infocom things that were, like if you just asked for me personally, part of my youth, the text adventure Zork, those kind of things. I think about King's Quest. I thought they did a really nice job. But like those, the Sierra catalog, the Infocom catalog, just because of my age, like those things speak to me because they were moments in my gaming career, my gaming kind of experience that really meant something. And I love those. When you think about Blizzard and all these things that they've done, like amazing franchise, StarCraft, like it was in the video that the teams did, which I know there's been some discussion about should we have done a video for an acquisition or not. But there's just some amazing franchises in there. Most important is that we treat them with the respect that they deserve, and we don't turn it into some way for us just to kind of, like I said, a PR moment or something else.
100%. By the way, I almost cried at that video. That was a cool video that we put out on Friday. So come on, everybody.
I like the video. I saw some people.
I thought it was awesome. But so we've been talking about, obviously we've been doing the show for a few weeks now. We've been talking about Diablo, Overwatch, all these awesome games that Activision and Blizzard both work on. But we talk about ABK. The K stands for King.
Yeah.
And that's definitely mobile gaming focused. And so how are you thinking about mobile gaming as it pertains to Xbox?
My goal as head of Xbox is, I've been here over 20 years. I want Xbox to be a great brand, a great community for people over the next decades to come. So when I've thought about that, of what do we need to have in our portfolio and our capability as a team to ensure 30 years from now, Xbox is bigger and stronger than it is today, we've got to be relevant on mobile. There's just no way to really plot the future without being on the platform that most of the planet plays on. The games are different, the business models are different, the whole dynamic of how you distribute, how you find games is different. So when I was looking at that, I needed to find a team that's had amazing success for us to learn from. So literally, Amy Hood, who's the CFO of Microsoft, and I went through a list of who are the most accomplished publishers in the mobile space. And most people wouldn't have expected, I think, I didn't, that Activision would have been as high with the King work, as well as the Call of Duty mobile work, Warzone stuff that they've been doing, Diablo Immortal. And so I want to go learn from those teams because I think it's critical for us to deliver on the full promise of over 2 billion people playing, the opportunity to reach more of 3 billion people playing video games, to reach more and more people, that people who only play on their phone find Xbox to be something that's interesting for them. It doesn't mean I want to turn all of our franchises into mobile franchises. It doesn't mean everything's going to go free to play. I think the distribution and business model kind of diversity that we have is a strength of the platform. People who want to buy games, I love that. People want to subscribe to their games, it's great. Free-to-play games are great as well. But I'm really looking forward to learning on mobile because it's the truth of the matter is if you're going to continue to be relevant in gaming at a global scale, you're going to have to find a way to be relevant on the largest platform, which is mobile. So looking forward to flying and seeing King and talking to them and learning.
Yeah, like you mentioned, you're heading out to Stockholm here, later today. Xbox is already a big team, and now it is much bigger with like we mentioned, 9 new studios. We doubled. I don't know where you find the time in the day, but how hands-on do you expect you will be with our new teammates?
Yeah, and some people here know that I'm a big consumer of what we do. I play a lot of games. I have opinions. They're not always right. They're definitely not always right. But I've already started asking questions and giving my point of view. I'm not one that says, thou must, like we have to go do this. But asking questions both to learn and to see what we're thinking about and where the ambition is. But I rely on the teams. I get the title. I get to come on cool podcasts and talk too much. But the work that happens here is really down to the individuals on the team. From people who are on camera 5 times in the last 5 weeks as opposed to 1 time in the last 5 weeks, the people you can't see that are behind the scenes that make sure these shows happen, the people who are the community managers for the games at places like Minecraft, places like the Forza team, and all, it is the most important thing I can do is empower the teams. An empowered and motivated team that feels like they have kind of agency and ability to drive their own vision with a perspective that maybe I can help. That is if there's anything I can do in my role, it's empower the teams and make them feel safe, make them feel like failure's okay. Let's go learn, and then I get out of the way, because it's decisions that come from this head are not going to be the future of this business. It's really going to be about the now tens of thousands of people that work on Xbox and what they see, and listening to our customers. It's why I like moments like Minecraft Live, HCS. I got to speak with so many people at Halo last night. I'm going to events, listening online, playing on Xbox Live P3, and listening to the feedback that people have. Because I want everybody who's part of Xbox, whether you're a customer or you're part of the team, to feel like you have an ability to craft where we're going, as much as I do, frankly.
Yeah, well said. And I can personally attest to that as well, at least in the ways of which my job intersects with your world, your overarching world, where we do get that opportunity and see that you give us the range and the space to kind of make decisions in a cumulative way. So thank you for that. I have appreciated that in my last year that I've been here.
Even you and I, before you came here, we would sit down when we would cross paths at events. And I always loved that you had a perspective on things that we were doing well, things that we could do better. It's why I thought you being part of the team would be awesome.
Thank you.
But it is listening to smart people who care about this industry, who care about growing this industry in a safe way and an inclusive way, and see there's so much opportunity with gaming, interactive entertainment as a form of community, as a form of education, as a form of joy and just fun. There's so much opportunity in this space, but it's not about 3 or 4 people making all the decisions for the industry. It's about the industry feeling like they have hands on the steering wheel as well. So people who I interact with and have a real constructive perspective come be part of Team Xbox.
And on that note, too, I think for me personally, I love what Activision has been doing with Call of Duty Next. They just had one recently, too, a broadcast where they show off just tons of news and gameplay and bring their community into the fold. It's a pretty new broadcast for them. And I love that it is a presentation format, like there is news going into it, but at the same time, they invite over 200 creators and streamers.
I wonder how they do that.
It's wild. Everything is rigged with the ring lights and like their own connection to be able to stream directly into the presentation itself. So they're really welcoming the community into the broadcast, into the news. And to me, it tells me that they have a finger on the pulse in terms of their community, as well as modern ways of approaching broadcast. So obviously, since I'm responsible for what we call premier broadcast here at Xbox, that's something I'm personally really interested in and have been observing from afar. And now I get this opportunity where we are teams together and we can learn. So now that Activision Blizzard leadership is reporting to you, what does that mean and how do we come together to learn from each other?
Yeah, we're a big team, especially when we think about greater Microsoft, right? It can, for teams coming in, I think sometimes it can be overwhelming. I think maybe in the case of Bethesda, I think about that journey and some areas where I wanted us to go faster and maybe some areas where I wanted us to go slower. Bethesda was a little different just from our own history because it closed during a pandemic, which had its own set of issues in terms of us getting the teams together. My first goal is to identify the teams at ABK where we can create connection. One of the cool things about going to King is, as I think you mentioned, we have the Mojang studio there. There's already a lot of shared history between those two teams. Now they're all part of the same company. So I don't think we're going to be in the way of those teams making connections. When I think about the broadcasts that they do, I mean, BlizzCon's another thing that's coming up. How do we
going, right? We got to go to BlizzCon.
I've never been to a BlizzCon, so that would be fun. Maybe Michael invite me. We'll see. But for me, it's identifying the teams, making sure they're settled, because you got to think about these are teams that have been under a certain kind of ownership structure for 40 years. And now all of a sudden they're part of Microsoft. They're part of Xbox. So showing up, being there in person. When I'm going to Stockholm, it's not just me. Our leadership team is going. I want to be listening more than talking. And then finding those opportunities. I'll say my inbox is already full from a lot of people at Activision, Blizzard, and King who want to make those connections, who want to both have a voice in what we do, but also listen and from how we do things. So I think the opportunity is going to be there. It's going to be making the connections between our leaders and making sure we all go in with a learning mentality. Not that we know what's right, but let's listen and learn, because they do a ton of things very, very well.
It's all about that dialogue. Now I want to take a look back to take a look forward. So almost a decade ago, you got the job. I remember the video of you in Studio D with Larry. I don't know if you...
I know, yeah.
I go back and watch it from time to time because it's really interesting to see how Xbox's vision and journey has changed. And now we're going through this new phase with Activision, Blizzard, King, Bethesda. What is getting you as excited as you were back then about where Xbox is going?
You know, it's funny. I think there were a lot of cartoons written from when Larry and I did that of me saying games. I think dropping some mic. I don't actually think I said that, but the sentiment was nice. I've always thought that having a strong creative organization was going to be critical to our path forward. I don't see how we build a platform without the voices of our creative leaders right there, and here's what they want out of a platform. And when I think about now the breadth of just players that we have, creators from Candy Crush to Hearthstone to Starfield, to Minecraft to State of Decay 3, right? You have like a breadth of creations that want to come out on our platform and other platforms. And what can we do to enable that? I am more excited about being here than I've ever been with the opportunity ahead. I mean, it's interesting. One of the members of our community who's awesome, his name's Globril, and he's very good at building graphics. He built that like 2017 to now. I kind of looked at it and I was almost daunted by the change. And people want to go on Twitter and find him. He's an awesome member of the Xbox community and creates great graphics. But the growth in our creative capability was something that I thought was important from the beginning. Certain people would get upset that it wasn't going fast enough. Our first acquisition was Minecraft, and then we went through and Double Fine and Undead and the list of a bunch of Playground, add Ninja. I'm going to miss some, but like we added a bunch of teams, and then Bethesda, and now Activision, Blizzard, King. I'm just incredibly excited. I'd be remiss if I didn't say a little intimidated. I see a lot of people who claim I've been trained for this job. I think you all know that there's no training I go through, right? I'm always learning every day, both on the PR side and from the leadership side. So it's maybe when I thought about starting my career, I never thought this is where I would be. But when I talk to the teams and I hear from the individuals who want to be part of this, and the opportunity that we have ahead of us, that's the part that just gets me up every morning, 5:00 this morning, ready to do this, ready to go to Stockholm today, ready to sit with teams. I love playing games. I love creating games, and what an amazing opportunity for us.
Phil, thank you so much for taking time, during what is probably the busiest time of your career or life.
At least I don't have a tie and I'm not in court, right?
But it was a good suit.
You like it?
Yeah, everybody liked it.
I saw it at Spirit Halloween. You can be like someone walking behind with the coffee. That we're going to reenact that later on. So you got a 12-hour flight ahead of you, give or take, tonight. What are you going to be playing on the way?
So I have my ROG. I'm going to be playing some Starfield, of course. I'm really enjoying that. Speaking of Starfield, I know
we had
just
more big news.
Yeah, just this morning. It's good news. It's for a friend of mine who I've known for a long time. Pete Hines at Bethesda has decided he's going to start the next journey of his life. He's got a lot of things that he wants to go do. He's been such an incredible leader for us at Bethesda for so long, but also has earned this, right? He went through the acquisition. He went through building Bethesda, through the acquisition, helped us get through an amazing launch of Starfield. And I'm happy for him. I'm kind of proud of him that he's taking the opportunity to think about what's next. But he's announced his retirement's coming in November, I think is what he said. But it's nothing but great things to say about Pete and his contribution more than anything to this industry, to obviously Bethesda, to the Xbox in the time that we've worked together, and to me in just the feedback he's given me over the years, even before he was here, about things that he sees and opportunities. So nothing but great things to say about Pete. Congrats, my friend.
Cool. And so you'll be playing Starfield on the way.
Sorry.
Flight,
Starfield Sea of Stars is a game I really like. Yeah.
That may end up on some Game of the Year list.
It should. Sea of Stars is fantastic. I've been playing Motorsport, Forza Motorsport. I'm probably, truth be told, more of a Motorsport player than a Horizon player. If you go back kind of over the history of it. I'm still working on Brotato for people who have not played the Brotato it's a great Steam game. People should go try it. It's awesome on my ROG, but you're right. I've got 12 hours. In Starfield, we've done a few playthroughs before we launched. In this playthrough, I'm at the NASA facility on Earth, so I'm feeling good. So we'll see. We'll see how much I get pulled back and forth. Another one, Liza P. Neo is the team did an amazing job when you think about, hey, we're going to go in a genre that has such a high bar in terms of what people expect from combat, from feedback. I love the setting of kind of a gritty Pinocchio setting.
Yeah.
Great addition to Game Pass, but I'm not here to be an ad for Game Pass. But I am here to be an ad for Liza P because it's an amazing team that did a great job on a game. So go play that. It's loaded on my ROG. I look forward to playing.
This is a Liza P Stan account
Yeah.
/ support.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
We've talked much about that
Yes.
game on
It's
this
awesome.
Emphasis on the
podcast.
support because I definitely need it.
I'm dealing with this very angry, scary clown robot right now.
Yeah.
And if you've passed that, we'll have to exchange some tips because right now I was up way too late last night.
And he's not even one of the big bosses.
No.
Oh.
Well,
Mid-tier.
he's got the long energy bar, so I count
Right.
that as a big boss.
That's
There
fair.
you go.
Yes.
So you're past this point.
No, I haven't gotten there because I've been
Oh,
struggling
okay.
more than Jeff has. But that was my
Okay.
understanding because people had called that one out in particular, that fight.
I've never been so both revolted and charmed by a game at the same time. At
beautiful
least not in a
game.
long time. I love
There are
it.
always
some
a one.
amazing games out right now.
Yes.
Oh,
many.
a lot.
And it's we're right on the cusp of Spider-Man 2
Yep.
coming out, which will be another amazing game. When I just think about the amount of this year has been a special year in gaming,
good.
from the beginning. I think there was a lot of pent up production and creative energy from stay at home, from COVID, and it's awesome. Now, what I hope is that people keep in their head, I don't have to play. I can play a game that didn't launch in the last 2 weeks, so you can go if you miss a game right now, you can in January, February, whenever you can go back and revisit because these games deserve to be played, and there's just an amazing amount of great games out right now. Baldur's Gate 3, another fantastic game that's out. It's so anyway, it's a fun time to be playing right now.
Backlog
It
is
is
stacked.
a very great
Oh my
time right
goodness.
now. I think any final things you want to land because we would be quite remiss if we made you late for your flight.
Yeah, it's these last. I guess for me, it's been 2 years. I guess publicly, it's been, would you say 20 months or something like that?
Yeah.
I know it's been a journey for the teams internally, definitely externally. I've seen it, but to the teams internally, I'll talk to them a little bit. I know that's not what the forum is for, but I have some members of the team here. The support, the conviction, the asking questions at the right time. I can see people biting their tongues sometimes when they want to ask a question, but not sure it's right. Same thing with the community outside. I just appreciate all of the words and all the kind of support and kind of go get them. It's been a long process, a learning process for me. It felt awesome to get through it on Friday. I spent the weekend just kind of reflecting on this and then get up this morning and say, let's go get it. But I know for you and people who are out there supporting Xbox, people who have a job to go do, that the kind of level of uncertainty and noise was different than maybe what we were used to or what we're supposed to be focused on. I'm glad that's behind us. And now what an amazing opportunity ahead. So let's go make it all real, make it matter.
Go
Yes.
team, go team.
Go teams out.
We'll do the cheer at the end. Yeah, 3, 2, 1. All right. Well, that is all the time that we have for today. Make sure you tune in next week. We'll, of course, be back here in the studio and probably on a Thursday, our regular day. And, we really, as Phil was saying, care what you think. So let us know in the comments, whether that's on YouTube, whether that's answering the questions that we usually put up there on Spotify, and even in the tweets out there. We do read them. We do greatly appreciate them. We're even formulating the show on the fly. So yes, you can find us on youtube.com/Xbox if you were listening today, or if you were watching, you can always take us with you in the car on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or Spotify, wherever finer podcasts are found.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to go. We're going to get you on your way. And well, we're going to go back to playing some games.
That's
so
right.
we will see you next time.